When we get tested, we're not willing to go all the way.
Well, you can go back to the day that Paul Ryan endorsed Donald Trump a couple of days after calling him a racist. And Mika and I said in real time that he was handling that relationship wrong. You never give Donald Trump something for nothing. And that's exactly what Paul Ryan did. He folded, he caved at the beginning of the relationship. Donald Trump does not respect weakness. Donald Trump, a bully, politically only understands strength. Paul didn't show him that early on. And Heidi, that set up a relationship where Donald Trump would never
destined for
respect
failure.
Paul Ryan. And if you're Paul Ryan, you fight your entire life for free trade, and you're caving to a guy who's a Herbert Hoover protectionist. You fight your entire life to stand up to Russia, and you're caving to a guy who kowtows to an ex-KGB agent who is running an autocracy in Turkey, in Russia. You have the same thing in Turkey with Erdogan, where at times Donald Trump caves to him. He caves to autocrats in North Korea, caves to autocrats in the Philippines. I mean, we could talk about entitlement reform. Paul and I always talked about the importance of entitlement reform to save Social Security and save Medicare. Donald Trump said from the very beginning, I'm not touching either of those things. So how exactly did Paul Ryan justify everything that he overlooked?
You know, I remember so many points, Joe, during his tenure, reaching out to people close to Paul Ryan and asking, what is he thinking? Is he going to say something? And every time the answer was always the same, that while Paul Ryan had strong personal feelings, for instance, about the comments around Charlottesville, that he was, quote unquote, a Boy Scout, and that he had this code, which I guess was essentially a code of silence, because we never did hear him come out forcefully while he was there. But to me, as someone who's kind of followed Paul Ryan's career in the House and followed the things that he's found most important in his career, the most poignant epitaph is probably his position on the deficit, because even though his party is also a party that very much supports tax cuts, the championing of this latest round of tax cuts and having that kind of be the note on which he went out as Speaker and out of Congress is really poignant because of what it did do to the deficit, and because all of the things that Paul Ryan stood for with his budget. He was kind of the person who championed this budget that would save Social Security for the long haul. All of those things were washed out the window with those tax cuts.
Well, and Amna, you wonder what other Republicans right now still serving in office are thinking as they continue to suck up to this president and give him something for nothing and agree with even the most egregious things that might come out of his mouth or that he might have done during his presidency, during his campaign. They know this ends badly. And yet they don't stand up to him even on the most basic things. I haven't heard anybody speaking out even about the labor secretary on the Republican side.
One of the things that's been very true and very clear in this presidency is that the silence of many people